So, our second drug that we wanted to talk about was just approved in mid November, November 13th. This is an AstraZeneca drug called Tagrisso.
Tagrisso is an interesting and potentially very important drug because it does something or it addresses something that hasn't been adequately addressed before. And that's a specific mutation that occurs in certain lung cancer patients that basically makes it so that current medicines that are available for them to use no longer work. So what specifically we're talking about is we're talking about lung cancer patients that are EGFR positive. EGFR basically is involved in cell replication and survival. So by inhibiting EGFR, existing medications have done a pretty good job in slowing the pace of disease progression. However, when those drugs no longer work anymore, the prognosis gets much worse for patients, and there are far fewer treatment options. And overwhelmingly, the reason behind that disease progression is because of another mutation that ends up developing that becomes resistant to them, and that mutation is the T790M.
Exactly, yeah. And as you mentioned, the problem really is that that patients will progress. I mean, this drug is a tyrosine kinase inhibitor, so I'll just call that a TKI drug. And this is a pretty relatively common kind of drug. But the problem, again, is this resistance. So basically, what we're seeing with Tagrisso is that it's targeting the exact mutation that is responsible for most cases of resistance. And in trials, it shrank tumors in more than half of patients who had progressed on after other treatment with other of these TKIs. Median response lasted over a year. That's pretty durable. And you can tell that the FDA was also impressed. They approved the drug 3 months earlier than expected. One of the things that I really kind of struggled with in researching this was figuring out just how many patients this could possibly affect. And when you start to dig into the numbers, I just think it makes it really clear just how difficult it is to put a specific number on a patient population pool, which makes you want to take peak sales estimates with a grain of salt. But let's take a look at this for a quick minute. So bear with me here. So the American Cancer Society estimates that about 221,000 new patients will be diagnosed with lung cancer in the coming year. 85% of those are non-small cell lung cancer. EGFR rates vary from country to country, but in the US, at least, it's estimated to be around 10%. So multiply again by 10%. Of those patients, a majority progress. Again, hard to pin down an exact number on that. But even if we just call it, say, 60%, so we multiply by 0.6, and apparently the T790 mutation, the one that Tagrisso targets, is found in 2/3 of these patients. So multiply that all together and you get somewhere around 7,500 or so patients in the US every year. Now, any one of those numbers could be off by a little bit and throw the whole calculation off. And so I am by no means stating this 7,500 definitively, but that's the thing is nobody has a definitive number out there. So, I mean, it's all you can do to try to dig in and extract one. But in the end, it's pretty darn hard. And that's why you do see peak sales estimates all over the place. The one that I'm going to stick with is Astra's, which is $3 billion in annual sales.
Yeah, I think that investors, like you said, you need to take these things with a grain of salt. Studies have been done on peak sales estimates that show that the vast majority of those estimates are way off. So, I think you kind of have to do your own diligence and just recognize that, okay, could this be an important drug? Does it address a patient population that needs it? Is it priced at a point where people will be able to use it and pay for it? And when it comes to those kind of categories, I look at this drug and I say, yeah, this could be a significant player. This could be a blockbuster drug because, the 5-year survival rate is sadly for lung cancer patients still around 20%. So there's a massive unmet need for new therapies that can attack and handle this disease. And, even if we adjust your numbers by a little bit on either side, you're still talking about thousands of patients. So I think it's an important drug. It seems to work very well. It could become standard of care. And if it does, then I think you're talking about, $1 billion+ run rate.